lads and lasses, welcome back. It's the last series of this evening, and we're going to talk about all this stuff here in a little bit. So let's get right into these player introductions. Spawning in the top of Avani Research Station. Beat Jon Snow, then lost to Jaedong to get here. Of course, representing my insanity, it is the Blue Zerg player, Sacsri.
And his opponent showing some really solid play and very versatile play as well, but definitely showing how good he is in TVZ, because that's the only matchup he's played all day. It is Liquid's Taeja.
Yeah, and just to get how these players got here, of course, as we see, Liquid Taeja's gone for his natural fairly quickly. No barracks yet. Now it's just dropped down. Taeja, losing to Jaedong in a pretty good first series. Took a game off him, at least, the only player to do so tonight. Jaedong qualified 4-1. The other player, Jon Snow, going down to Taeja 2-0 pretty handedly. One thing about this guy is he has shown us a different play style each time he's played. Constantly changing things up, going Hellbats, going Widowmines, Banshees one time, and even Proxy 2 racks. The guy can do it all, and he's shown it tonight. His opponent, Sacsri, Tempo, how did he get here?
Yeah, starting out, what was it, the series against, Jon Snow in the first one in that TBZ? Yeah. Was able to take it against him, with some crazy holds and then some crazy aggression and counters, and just the ZVZ was pretty much his way of getting on through today, as he did end up losing to Jaedong in his EVZ, but did show a really nice ZVZ as well. But it just was so strange to see that both of these players have pretty much gone through. Oh no, both of these players have pretty much gone through it, playing the same matchup for the most part. So whereas I believe, at the end of it, this is the only real outcome that it could be. To be Saber with the face. But it looks like my wonderful, wonderful co-caster may have dropped. Usually it will happen once in the night, but we were crossing our fingers, and it seems like we didn't cross him hard enough, or at least maybe we crossed the wrong finger over the wrong one. Never really tried to cross my middle finger over my... Or is it the other way? I can't even tell, guys, but unfortunately I think that it's really early in the game, though, so I'm not sure. And if you look at that YOLO swag timer, I think Jesus, by the way, is Tyrannus, in case you guys didn't know. I don't know if we are going to just go through with it, I guess, or perhaps do the regame. I don't know if he's back just yet, but, the show must go on, and here we go. So, as we were saying before, the past of these two players have pretty much been the same matchup, and this is the one time where it has changed for Sacsri. He has to switch it up and play a ZVT, while it is, it looks like Taeja has been just pretty much playing TVZs all day. So doesn't really have to change too much, even though he chooses to do so. He always comes back with a different build, a different style, and he's playing different players when he does it. So surprisingly, it is Taeja that is here. I know that we've been kind of hyping Taeja quite a bit, I'm not going to lie, and maybe do apologize just a little bit, but, he is just that good, for sure. But Sacsri, a player that has just qualified for Codas on My Insanity, another stacked team, at least, I don't want to say recently, but over the past, year or so, they have just been picking up amazing players and having players that actually have results, not like certain teams where they pick them up and then they stop performing, but it looks like we'll have a pretty good matchup ahead of us here. So Taeja going here, looking like he wants to set up for a Cloaked Banshee opener with some Hellions, and Sacsri looking pretty standard himself, just going ahead, grabbing his third base, but he is going to drop that Roach Warren, so the only time we'll tell if he decides to actually go for a big Roach attack, or if he's going to kind of use these to deal with any kind of Hellions that will come, and then use the Queens to deal with the Banshees. So it's a lot harder when you use the Queens and Lings to deal with it, because Hellions do pretty damn well against those Lings, but when you have the Roaches, you can really focus on the Banshees while the Roaches focus on the Hellions, and don't know if, looking at the vision, no, and it doesn't look like Sacsri knows that it is going to be Cloaked Banshee. With an Evo Chamber, a double Evo Chamber wall, just in case those Hellions somehow do break through the Queens. Will only need to be one Queen that will be able to wall that off. But with 4 Roaches, this makes me think that he's not going to necessarily go into that For Roaches seems to be that it's just going to be defensively, but as soon as we see the upgrades that are going to be going down on that Evo Chamber, look at that, poking that Queen, making sure to target the same one each time, and it is one that does have a lot of energy on it, so Roaches are out. Hellions can't really do too much at this point, but the Banshee is going to be floating on across, and it is going to try to get into the natural to do as much damage as it can. And as soon as these Evos are done, let's see what those upgrades are going to be that go here for Sacsri. And it looks like the Carapace, the moment of truth. All right, well, we'll see that on the production tab, but the Banshee does go on in, is attacking this Queen, and the Banshee can take on a Queen, but with some little assistance here in a transfuse, it should be all right. Overseer going to be finishing as well. Hellions are going to swing on into the third, but there are only 3 drones, but there is a big drone transfer going down. Oh, that is a lot of drones that are getting taken out. Taeja getting the hits that he would love, and that Queen, the MVP, and even these Roaches actually going to get a nice surround, trapping those Hellions in. And I think even those, I think the Banshee might have, no, it did not go down. It goes on home. A second Banshee is on the way, but what the hell that? 7 workers have been killed. Not bad at all. Taeja is down in supply, but getting a lot more success than he did when he did go for, what did he tried to go for pretty much every aggressive opener, and didn't really have much success against Jaedong. This time getting a much better turnout for that, but a better return rather. But, you know, I don't think that Sacsri is in a terrible position either, because Taeja did delay his 3rd command center in order to make this happen, and he's going to try to get a little bit more done with this Banshee. He is going to get that Queen, I think. Yep, it's going to go down, and there's nothing really here to defend these drones, and now Taeja finding an opening, one that he's been looking for this whole time. Spots the Spire as well, and we see that there's melee upgrades going down, so we know exactly what it is that Sacsri would love to go into, and that should be that Ling Bling Muta style. I don't know if I've ever seen him do that kind of Roach Corruptor style just yet. Roach Bane Corruptor. Haven't really seen that out of Sacsri just yet, but Bane, that Banshee getting a lot of kills there, 7 in total. And look at that, the creep is already at the 3rd location of Taeja, so that will delay it even more. Taeja's floating a lot of minerals right now. I'm wondering if he has focused a little bit too much on getting that damage done, because he hasn't dropped any of his additional barracks yet. He hasn't really dropped, he just needs to add his production down. That is a lot. Very uncharacteristic for sure. And he will start to get that going as he does get the units all ready to go as those add-ons do finish. So his creep spread is looking pretty good here for Sacsri. He has his 1-1 already on the way. +1 Carapace is done. Speed is just now starting, actually. Oh, it's just now starting to finish, which is kind of dumb thing to say, but it is just about to finish at a very late start. But it was in order to get those Roaches out to deal with it. You don't really need to rush out speed if you're going to use Roaches to defend. And it times out pretty nicely with these upgrades, so if he wants to do anything, he will have to wait most likely until that Baneling speed is done. But the Mutas are inside of the main. It's going to force a few stims out of these Marines. Taeja's starting to power up, though. He's starting to, as a lot of his production is starting to kick into gear. His +1/+1 is already done. His armory is very late. It actually just started, so he's not going to go into that +2/+2 just yet. And that means that Sacsri is going to be able to get that upgrade lead, and that's a really good thing as a Zerg if you're able to get it. You know what? Sacsri is actually going to be pushing in with some Roaches and Lings, getting a good hit there. Friendly fire with that Widow Mine, and Sacsri just ends the game straight up.
Welcome back. It's game 2. Hopefully my internet connection sticks with us this time. Just going to get right into these player introductions. Spotting in the bottom left-hand corner of Expedition Lost, it is representing my insanity, the Blue Zerg player, Sacsri.
You're not wrong. It is the best way to spawn, you know? I always like spawning in the bottom as opposed to the top, especially when it comes to, like, microing and stuff. But anyways, spawning in the top right corner, it is going to be the man that is down 1, looking to bring it back, perhaps, representing Team Liquid. His name is Taeja.
Yeah, I didn't see much of the first game, but I heard that there was some Banshee play and Roaches and things like that. So, you know, this is the map that Taeja's actually gone for, surprisingly, as most, you know, as the resident Terran player, I absolutely hate this map. But he was able to beat Jaedong pretty handily on it with some Siege Tank Marauder play, and then, of course, taking out Jon Snow in that second match of the season, or the series. So he has no problem on Expedition Lost, as Sacsri's drone comes in here and tries to get some harass done, you know. But it's gonna be interesting to see
it every time for game 2. It's always game 2. I feel like too.
Yeah, it's interesting to know. But I mean, it is, you know, it's his map, so of course I guess he just likes it. He likes the color hue. That's what he likes. He's like, that's my color.
It is a liquid kind of, I guess, right? So
yeah, it's got some.
he's been switching his colors.
It.
He's been switching his colors a lot, but I think that is just the lobby and whatnot. It's not like he requested to be red or blue.
He's sticking with the red, man.
He just spawned that way, you know?
He's a true Soviet at heart, Taeja is. He's doing it for Mother Russia.
It's not where they drafted him from. Team Liquid, when they were looking for free agents, right? I was like, all right. White Raz already on his own TTE.
Oh, God.
Sports. Well, White Raz Ukrainian, but anyways. Going here.
That's a debate for another time.
Yep. Taeja opening up with the CC first, it looked like. And I think Sacsri had scouted it with the drone, saw that exactly, and went for this really, really fast third hatchery. And I don't even know if that was before the pool, but that would be pretty interesting if it was.
It had to.
I don't know how often I've seen. Yeah, right. I haven't seen 3 hatch before pool that often.
Yeah, the hatchery is just about to finish up, and the spawning pool just now finished up. So I think it had to have been before. But regardless, what do you think about that third location? Because I feel like even though he doesn't have the ability to take down the rocks, this is definitely so easy to attack compared to the other one. Even though the other one, no, I think this one might be closer. That third. Anyway, what do you think about that decision?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Zergs will take it anyway, and I think it is because of what you said. It's so hard to get rid of those rocks very early. It's a little bit harder than on Deadwing, where it's on the way to your third, you know, if you're trying to. If you spread the creep, then maybe you can do it, but it can get really weird with this third, too, if you don't get those rocks down, you know? It's not like Deadwing, where if you don't get the rocks down where the siege tank is, then, oh, big deal, whatever. But on this map, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult, because if you get caught in some kind of timing, then... You're in a world of hurt, and you can't even defend it, period.
And it's actually looking like that's exactly what Taeja's going for. This is shaping up to be a 2-base Hellbat Marauder push with Medevac in support, because he's got, obviously, the Hellions producing out of the reactored factory. Medevac on the way, I'm assuming, unless he goes Banshee, which will be equally as strong. And he is lifting the barracks, so it is, in fact, going to be Banshees. But regardless, both of these are very strong pushes. Some people like the Hellbats with Medevacs just so that they can keep them alive and micro that way. Other people, Taeja, you know, that's what he's showing here, likes the Banshees to just go ahead and get more, harass more output of damage and DPS as these Hellions make their way across and do confirm the existence of the third. And like you said, if Taeja keeps his Hellions alive and he gets that number up to a massive amount and makes a really devastating push, that third probably all but gone.
Yeah, I mean, the creep spread is already starting here. Sacsri going for Roaches like once again. And here comes a double Evo as well. So he's going to use that in order to deal with the Hellions. And the great part about it is that it deals with Hellbats too. Just with a little bit of kiting, it's very easy to shut down a Hellbat push right in its tracks. And it looks like Taeja is going for that this time. It's a little different. The Armory was very delayed for Taeja last game, but he's getting it right now on that 2-base economy and just now drops that 3rd base. So he's going to have to make something happen with Hellbats and Banshees. And I think Sacsri has the tools to deal with it.
He does. And the drop...
Execution.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, just the execution. I was wondering if he would be able
if he's able to micro his units, be able to hold it back. Yeah, like I said, I mean, throwing the 3rd command center is a big tell for Taeja here, because it means that he's not going to, just 2-base all in it. These Hellions getting on top of the Roaches here, and they're actually now going to transform. This is 6 in total, and that's a lot of output, especially with the Banshee here. Cloak just about to finish up, and once it does, it's going to be able to just absolutely shred units. There goes the Cloak, but the Spore Caller there for detection as these Hellbats get in on top of the drones. Roaches are able to get a decent little bit of a concave, but there's a lot of drones that are trapped. The Banshee does go down, didn't see the Spore in time, and now it seems like all these Hellbats are just going to kind of lose their lives for not a lot of damage done.
They didn't get those drones that were on the right side. Only 3 workers were killed there. Did Sacsri overreact, though, as well? Hellions are going to sneak inside of the natural base of Sacsri. And yeah, that really wasn't that many. 3 more workers were killed for those Hellions, though, so that's not bad. And once again, this is what we were seeing, and they're very uncharacteristic. Like, behind all this, Taeja, this is floating like a lot of these minerals, and the last time Sacsri capitalized on the point where Taeja was starting to spend his money, but he just didn't have enough units, so he's going to be able to start getting this infrastructure down. Triple barracks is going to be his choice, and he has his double upgrades as well. And as long as Sacsri doesn't do anything crazy, which he does have the potential to do because he is going for a 1-1 Roach timing with that, well, at least 1+1 plus something. This is very scary,
Yeah.
man. Like
Yeah, he can get a lot of damage done. Taeja doesn't have the infrastructure right now, or the the stuff to produce units, which in StarCraft is actually a pretty key thing to be able to do. We do have a Hydralisk Den going down as well, so that's going to be the tech push for Sacsri. None of this Bailing Roach nonsense. It's going right into Hydras, and that does fairly decently against Bio, which is what Taeja is doing. He is producing siege tanks, of course, to get support for his Bio against those roaches, and siege tanks do pretty well, as these two banshees are able to fight two queens, one down, even with the overseer. Now it's going to choose to fight and lose its life in doing so. Two queens down, pretty good pickup, and he might get a third one here as he gets.
Hey, he might actually go for it. Yeah, there's really no need for transfuses.
Wow. Three queens down, might get a fourth here. Then once he does, is he going to be able to start going to work on this drone line here? And he's actually going to do just that. So pretty good pickups from Taeja, but I don't know if that's really going to put Sacsri in the hole.
No, he is keeping Sacsri at home for a little bit, but I feel like Sacsri wants to be home just right now, waiting for a little bit of a timing perhaps, but he didn't start the +1 carapace until a little bit later. So he may not even go with that 1/1 Roach. He might just wait for the Hydras to come out. 16 of them on the way, and he has to get those upgrades out, so there should be a little bit more time. It's very dangerous to venture out without that Hydra speed, but if he's feeling it, then it may work out for him, because Taeja's finally just now starting to get his power. That production is going in, as all of those reactors had finished. The upgrades are nice here. Taeja is on that 1/1, I believe, and he has an armory done already from that Hellbat, so...
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, though. This is a lot of roaches and hydras, and they're making their way, looking to come pressure to third. There's not enough units here, and the thing is there was of course, there was observers there for Sacsri, but now he's going to come in on both sides, roaches and hydras. The siege tank goes down almost instantly. A second one is sieging behind it, but this is just Marines, and they don't do that well against hydras, especially without supporting medevacs. Roaches and hydras getting right on top of this army. This doesn't look like there's anything left for Liquid Taeja. Is Sacsri going to be able to take this 2-0 and progress on to...
He might be able to.
Quarterfinals? SCVs are pulled.
I think he's going to. The last siege tank goes down. Oh man, you never want to surround hydras. The DPS is just a little bit too much, and with the roaches, they just never die with that combination. I don't know, man. I mean, the supply is telling the tale at the moment. Taeja has lost a lot of his SCVs at his third, as they did try to buy some time. A triple command center is good, but this Roach Hydra force, it only has 1/1 at the moment, and it is going in on this force of Taeja. Wow. Oh, he's gonna hold at this ramp though for a little bit.
I have seen Taeja come back from stuff, but this just looks almost impossible. Stemming forward more, not even going to get any use out of those stemmed Marines. He does have a siege tank Marauder +2 on the way for both armor and weapons. So, like you said, the upgrades might give him something back into this. That was a huge attack from Sacsri, and it was definitely really meant to be a killing blow. But it wasn't, so maybe Taeja able to, settle down and collect himself here. That
if you give Taeja a little bit of time here. If you give Taeja a little bit of time here, he has that triple command center, and the main, I feel like will start to mine out very soon, so he can transfer a few of those workers over to the third. And the fact that Sacsri didn't take a fourth through that, he actually took it after the attack. So this is Taeja's moment, and if he's able to peel him apart with drops or anything, this is how you deal with Roach Hydra. If you start dropping all over the place, there really is not that much static defense, despite maybe the Spore Crawler that was there for the Banshees. But, oh man, yeah, I think Taeja might be able to claw his way into this one here. And this is exactly how he's doing it. Yep, getting double drops here. But he needs to worry about this push, Sacsri's not letting that happen. It looks like he says, I will push you. You're not going to drop me.
Yeah, and that's how you
Taeja
deal
has
with
to make
it.
the most difficult decision.
And that's how you deal with it, though. He said, you know what, I have a big enough army, I feel I can defeat this, and that's a lot of Hydras coming in on 2 siege tanks and bunkered. They do have a couple Marauders in here with supporting medevac, taking out the bunker almost instantaneously, but it's actually backing off a little bit as his fourth is actually getting dropped at the same time. Sentry Tower is down, so now Taeja has a pretty good idea of when the attacks are going to come. These Marines are actually going to be able to take out the hatchery.
Whoa, and it finished!
And the medevac is going to get out as another medevac is going into the main of Sacsri, dropping. There's a lot of roaches here, so I think the medevac is going to get out of dodge. But you know what? If there's any way as a Terran player to get back, just like you said, start bringing the army left and right.
This is
the way, almost
yep.
like a Protoss match.
Denying the fourth every single time, and the fact that fourth didn't go down, or the fact that it did go down, it got taken down, is awesome too here. And Taeja's looking for anything, grasping at whatever way he can go, come back into this game. Holding with those tanks was really nice. It's a very hard position to attack, And Taeja definitely made sure that if Sacsri was going to commit to an attack, he was going to be eating a lot of tank shells. And Sacsri smartly decided to kind of fall back a little bit. So
I mean, +3 is on the way for Taeja here. More siege tanks, marauders, marines on the way. Another command center as this attack is going to try and make its way into the natural. There are pretty much no units, but 2 siege tanks here. One is not sieged up, so the first one's going to go down almost instantaneously. This looks like a brilliant move from Sacsri, catching Taeja's army out of position, and now he's got the high ground. Getting attacked on both sides, but he's going to go for that command center, and it's getting repaired from SCVs. And there's not a lot of surface area for these marines in bio to get up and start doing more damage against the Hydras. He is going to catch out this entire army, but look at the supply here. 124 for Taeja, 160 for Sacsri. He is going to lose all of his units eventually, but is that enough of a dent in the production of the Terran player Liquid Taeja?
Well, the
to
command
really put a
center
stop to
lives.
things?
The command center lives here for Taeja. He did lose a few of those SCVs once again, but that is really not the, as a Terran player, you can kill the economy. You got to get those command centers, you got to get on that production. And that is not what Sacsri was able to do. Throwing away a lot of units there, but still, you know, he's now getting his 4th base, and he's still sticking onto that Roach Hydra style.
And look
Where is he
going to
go from this?
Taeja, a lot of red coming out. That looks really scary. If he's able to take this engagement the way Taeja can take engagements, there's not a lot of Hydras with this army. And look at that. So many siege tanks, so many marines coming out. He scans, he sees where the army's at, and he's going to be able to pressure just right down into where this army is going to be coming into the valley here. Tanks sieging up. He's going to start going to work on these overlords as more medevacs flood into the field of battle. Roach is coming in.
I'm wondering, where are the
creep.
Vipers?
Yeah, no Vipers. There's one on the way, but he's on creep. Is Taeja going to go ahead and stem? Where are the infestors, too, for Fungals? Fungals will be so key right now. All the Marines are pumped up. Oh, and he gets the upgrade.
Oh, this could be it. Oh,
God.
Sick Fungal getting on everything here. There's a lot of medevacs here, though, and the siege tanks are still alive, but those were the Fungals that he needed. A lot better than those 2 Fungals that Jon Snow had tried to use against his own player right here. But that was such a key moment right there, and I don't think Taeja was expecting it at all.
Taeja has taken the gold as a response to the scans, sees the 4th hatchery that has been fully saturated with drones, sieging up 2 tanks here. He knows this is where the fight is going to go down. This is going to be Taeja's Alamo. You know what? We've seen him come back from some absolute craziness in the past. And if one player can do it, it's this guy. And you know what? He's going to just poke around, see what he can do with these bio forces. He needs to not. He's going to snipe an infestor. Misses the fungal just barely. Getting out of range of that fungal. And
there's
you know
so
what?
many medevacs here that.
Yeah, he might be able to just heal right through fungals, couldn't he?
Mm-hmm. I feel like that with no banelings. If he's not getting attacked by those roaches and hydras, then he should be all right. But Ling speed has already been done. You know, usually you don't see that when you're going for that roach hydra style. And if he did have banelings, it could be a bit better. And yeah, it looks like banelings are on the way. But now this is the time. Taeja needs to hold here, because if he holds here, he maintains a massive economic advantage, as he does have that gold. But this is a lot of units here.
Oh, man. Both tanks getting abducted, and this is not going to be the best engagement for Taeja, knowing that he backs off to the safety of the planetary. 3 infestors able to live and get their energy gathered up here. +3 at armor. What is this? +3 weapon? No, infantry. Okay, now he's finally able to finish. +3 bioweapons and +3 missiles on the way for his Zerg opponent here. If he's able to take this gold and hold it, that supply difference is going to evaporate pretty quickly here, but it's going to come down to an engagement here in the next minute, because I feel like Sacsri smells blood in the water.
Yeah, I mean, Taeja's trying to make a little bit of a wall to make sure those lings aren't as effective. One fungal on that. Maybe going for the medevacs, but these banelings do not have speed just yet. But, I mean, if you're fungal, that doesn't even really matter unless the siege tanks do target them down. I think that Sacsri is trying to force an engagement. He does not want Taeja to get that base at all. And he's going to try to do anything in his power in order to try to stop that from happening. But is it going to be successful? This is a pretty powerful position, yeah.
Yeah, this is a massive amount of units. In come the Hydras. Blinding Cloud's going down on one of the siege tanks, able to really get a lot of done here. Roach is right on top of the siege tank. Liquid Taeja splitting for his life, but Fungal's going down on these medevacs and marines. Blinding Cloud's now affecting his own units, but of course that doesn't matter. More infested Terrans now onto the map, and is Taeja going to be able to hold this one? He just might. Oh, it's so close, but the Hydras are able to come in and really
there's so many
DPS.
Units that are going down here, and the fact that there is no advantage in the upgrade department here for a Terran player that you usually would expect when you go for the Roach Hydra. It's always that +3/+3 kicking in against the +2/+2 Roach Hydra, but it's just not here right now, and Taeja may be hurting because of that, but he is holding on. And remember, that base is still mining. That planetary has not been touched. Taeja scanning, making sure that none of the other bases are taken, and it's giving him the confidence to push on forward.
The problem is he used SCVs on that third in that fight. So if you look at how many SCVs he's really got doing any sorts of mining, it's really down to 2 bases, and that's not much on his third. He's lifting his fourth. His first is going to become his fifth, rather. He's going to bring it over here and discover a pretty sad panda moment when he realizes that Overlord has been spreading creep at that location for some time now. Loading up with the medevac, going to be sent out of the map, taking a Xel'Naga watchtower just to see what he can see. Unfortunately, not much, as the Zerg army is moving to the other side of the map, and Sacsri with a lot of blue moving around the map right now, and feeling pretty confident, I think.
Yeah, what is he planning to do here? He was maybe trying to catch that drop. One of the things that you face as a Roach Hydra player is that it's so hard to deal with these drops. One going down at the third. There are not that many units over here. +3 attack is about to kick in for both players. And
another one going
drop. So good.
Here. So Taeja able to spread his opponent out, losing a couple Marines there, going back to pick him up, taking this Zerg army left and right, and he has to. He's only got 119 supply to 164, so he's really got to get these bases up and mining because his production is just not competent right now. 8 Marines on the way, though. That medevac is picked off, so that's a pretty nice pickup from Sacsri, as this other one makes its way into another one of his expansions. He needs to start targeting down drones, and he's going to go right for the hatchery again.
And he is.
Unfortunately,
it's mainly just buying the time to let that gold base pay for itself. He is continuously mining from that. He's going to start mining from that base over where you usually would take your third. Look at how many mules get drops over there. So many mules raining from the sky. And Taeja is starting to bring this back just a little bit. If you look at the economy of Sacsri, it is just, he's floating so much gas right now, and it's just because he keeps on getting harassed in his mineral line.
I almost don't believe it. This is pretty incredible play.
Yes, for real. From both, but from back from the dead is what Taeja is doing at this moment, and I actually can't believe it myself.
Yeah, we do have
this blinding cloud.
More of the same now. Blinding clouds come down, actually missing the siege tanks. Fungal's not really getting the hits they need, but this is such a big Zerg force. I don't think Taeja has enough now. It really looks like the Roaches and Hydras are going to
that Fungal!
Oh man, that's a money Fungal. That's what you want to see as Sacsri pushes forward. 136 supply to 92.
Getting up close and personal with those bioforces. He doesn't care. He's going to try to repair that planetary fortress. It goes down, but now Taeja is actually pushing on back forward. The army supplies are really, really similar, but that base going down is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he's already got an orbital coming across from his natural to make it to the gold. It's not going to be a planetary, of course. Instead, he's rallying it to the other side of the map, I believe, instead of going to the gold. Really kind of just changing up where he's going to be taking engagements now. Taeja realizing that that's probably not the best place for his army to make its final stand, stimming forward a Marine and a Marauder just to see what, if they can get to the Xel'Naga Tower before his Zerg opponent is. Forward scan, sees what the army is, and see if Taeja likes it. It's going to be really telling here because he's got a little bit of time before +3 or +2 armor comes in, and he's got to make something happen quickly because in the production tab, it's just army units for Taeja.
Yep, that is all that you see right now. He's going to go in trying to bait out some of those fungal growths. He will get it, and a blinding cloud goes down on that bio, but they can move out of it. The siege tanks are still able to shoot, but that fungal once more is going to go in, get all of the bio again, and now Sacsri is just going to be pushing on forward, and he's going to push on forward to the round of the 8. Into the quarterfinals, Sacsri goes with an amazing game to close out tonight's group.